Hey guys, Marshall Mathers the fourth here, back to you today with another video. And in today's video, this will be part 3 to why I'll probably never date or marry a black woman, or why I'll probably never date or marry a black woman, part 3 in other words. And in this video, I would like to start out by saying that, you know, when I think of black women, I just feel to myself personally that they need a tough man in their life. They need a rugged man. And when I think of the kind of man that a black woman would want or desire or whatever, I think of a man, regardless of his race, who would be, well, really tall and ripped, like strong physically and also strong emotionally and mentally, so that way he would be able to be a good leader in the household and also a good role model for his children to look up to and to like take on after, or to learn things from, if you will. And you know, when it comes to me, unfortunately, I'm a weak guy. I'm not strong emotionally, mentally, and surely not physically. And plus, I'm not that tall myself either. I don't think a black woman would ever want a white guy who's not only really broken, damaged, and shattered emotionally and mentally, and just severely brokenhearted, but also not want a white guy who, well, isn't strong physically and also like tall to a certain extent. And when it comes to me and my height, I'm only like, what, 5'5", 5'6", or 5'7", maybe at the very tallest. And I don't think a black woman would be like, oh yeah, 5'7", that's good enough for me. I love 5'7" guys. Like, no, I don't think any woman, regardless of her race, would really try to go after or chase a guy who's probably anywhere under 6 feet. If I can say anything about it. And you know, like, one thing I said in my previous video to this, which was titled "Why I'll Probably Never Date or Marry a Black Woman Part 2, you know, one of the things that I said that I feel like I made a really good point of is that black women themselves are hood, they're street. And I didn't say all of them in that video, and I feel like a lot of people feel like I'm stereotyping black people or whatever, and I'm not trying to, not purposely or intentionally. And when I'm talking about black women, I'm honestly talking about the ones that I myself am following on Instagram or social media. And the ones who I'm following on social media or Instagram, they are ratchet, they are sassy and moody, they are bougie, they are street, they are hood. And by saying that a lot of black women are street or hood, I just simply mean in the way where they have their own slang, they have their own grammar, they have their own accent. And I don't have that slang or accent or use that grammar myself. Plus, I'm a white guy and I never was raised in a street thug hood ghetto life. As much as I wish I could have been, I wasn't. And I wasn't even at least raised in any big city in any of the 50 states that would have had, oh, I don't know, a large percentage or population of black Americans where I could have learned things about their culture or their lifestyle or whatever, and where I could have, I don't know, like, started maybe acting or behaving like them, and learning about their personality or mannerisms or culture or whatever. And I feel like some of that would have rubbed off on me if I would have at least been a white guy who would have been raised in a big city, especially knowing that that is where the majority of black Americans live and are from. And also pretty much most other minorities as well as immigrants in this country live in big cities and are raised in big cities that are also super crowded, super diverse, and really overrated. But so many people want to live in them, so much to the point they're even willing to be homeless for a little while until they can like start making money, get on their feet, get an apartment or house or whatever and whatnot. And anyway, like, I would not, even for any woman of any other race, I would not be a good father. I would be a really weak father, emotionally and mentally. And how do you think that would make my kids turn out to be if I were to even have kids? Like a bunch of weaklings. They would not be strong emotionally or mentally growing up. And you know, one of the reasons why I am so weak myself is because of the family that I was raised in and born into. It's because of the environments that I grew up in, and that I was also prevented and kept from and sheltered and protected from having that many life experiences growing up as a kid, or even at least a teenager, that many other people have experienced themselves in their childhood and teen years. Like, even a lot of white Americans experience a lot of like dangerous, violent things happen to them, even when they're kids or teens. And, you know, when it comes to those white people, they're way more mature than me. They're way more stronger because they've lived through more. They have experienced more. And so their life feels more, fuller or complete. And when I also do think of the only white guy that I could ever see or imagine being able to even have as much of a chance to date or marry a black woman would, of course and obviously, be a white city boy. Because when I think of a lot of big city white guys, they think they're cool. And you know what? They are. Because they're exposed to much more cultures, much more life experiences, much more things that happen to them because they got to be raised in a big city with a lot of different races of people and therefore different cultures, and just like I said, have a much more fuller and complete life than compared to me as a white guy. And, you know, city white guys act all hard and tough, and a lot of them are, and a lot of them will even kind of act all high and mighty and proud and walk with confidence and self-esteem and be all like, I'm a white city boy, yo. I'm so fucking cool because I got to be raised in the city. I mean, maybe they won't say that, but they will certainly act like that. And they will come off as really cocky and whatnot. And, you know, white guys who got to be raised in cities are way different than white guys who were raised in the country. Two totally, completely different types of white guys. And you know, if I'm going to be honest here, and if I'm going to be just upfront with you all, I fucking hate white guys who got to be raised in cities. I really do. I really do. I hate them. And I would never, ever want to be friends with them in real life, in person. I would never want to meet them. I would hopefully never have to run into them or interact with them even briefly, because I really have it in for white guys who got to be raised in cities and who got to experience so much diversity, because that is fucking unfair. I don't care who you are, that's fucking unfair. And, you know, if you black women want a white guy, please, by all means, don't date or marry me. You'd be dodging a bullet by just giving up on me entirely. Like, don't even risk it. You're dodging a bullet on this one. I don't deserve to date or marry any of you black women. I'm not worthy enough. And you black women are way better than me. You're way more mature than me. You're way stronger than me. And, I mean, let's face it. You're way more fucking cool and dope than I am myself and will ever be in my entire pathetic existence in life. Seriously. I'm complimenting you, but I'm also angry at you. And I also said in my previous video that I hate you. I hate you because I never got to be with you, black women. I never got to fully experience you. I never got to interact with any of you physically and socially, and even just simply be in the physical presence of you women a fuck ton, to the point where I would have got really used to you women of that race, really familiar with you, and just normalized to being around you so much, as I really wish I could have been growing up as a kid, which would have been the best possible fucking time to get used to or familiar with or normalized to literally anyone of any other race or culture. And not to mention, at least, like, it would have been nice if I could have experienced diversity and got used to and familiar to that sort of thing in my teens at the very latest, but I didn't even get to have that. I didn't even get to experience diversity in my teens. So now that I'm almost 24, it is too late. It is too late for me. And I don't want to experience diversity anymore, because it's painful. Because of how long and how many years I've yearned for experiencing diversity has caused me so much torment, torture, crippling depression, stress, anger, hatred, jealousy, envy, all that good shit. I'm obviously exaggerating here, but I'm just trying to pretty much explain to all you black women how much me wanting to be with you, and even black men, and be with black Americans out of most other races, in knowing that I never was able to, broke my heart. I just want to let all of you know, you broke my heart. You really just, you crushed me. You crushed me, especially knowing that none of you really knew I existed, which is not your fault, and I'm not blaming you for that one bit. But in my teens, I knew more of you existed, or I knew that you existed, people of your race, more than you even knew I existed. More than you even tried to acknowledge my existence, or think about someone like me existing somewhere. I don't know. Maybe I'm the crazy one. I don't know. And, you know, one of the saddest things too is the fact that, you know, when I made my video, like 5 months ago, 6 months ago, or whatever, reasons I love black women, I meant each and every single word and reason that I said personally why I love black women. And I would not take anything back that I said in that video. I would not have changed anything I said in that video at all, whatsoever. But here's the thing. I'm strongly and powerfully attracted, severely attracted to black women. And I always will be. But at the same time, I hate them because I never got to interact with them both physically and socially. I never got to get used to them, familiar with them, normal to them as a race of people and as a culture of people, which would have obviously really benefited me, but it's too late for that. And I'm just trying to make that very perfectly clear in this video. And you know, the sad thing is that I am equally both attracted to black women and also hate them at the same time, like on equal levels to each other, like the same, literally. And you know, it's not like I'm not attracted to women of other races, but the most race that I am attracted to is black women, is in fact black women. And I know, like, even when I look at photos of them, watch videos of them, or even rarely once in a while see them in person, even as much as I hate it because it causes me so much pain, I feel the level of attraction that I have to that race of women. And it's a very, like, strong, powerful, like, very obvious and clear attraction that I have to black women, myself as a white guy. And, you know, so my attraction to you women of that race is not, like, deniable, because it's so obvious and clear. I cannot deny my attraction, my sexual attraction and desire and longing for you women of that particular race. But at the same time, I hate you because I never was able to get used to you, race of women, familiar with you, normal to you. And the best possible time that I could have in my life would have been when I was a kid, growing up, into my teens, and now into my early 20s. But I didn't, and now it's too late. And now, when I'm in the physical presence of black Americans, whether women or men, and I hardly ever am, like once in a blue moon maybe, I feel really uncomfortable. I feel really uneasy. I feel stressed out. I am like cringing like crazy on the inside when I'm in the physical presence of even other races of people that I haven't got to ever experience that much, like to the level that I have white people growing up, because of the area that I was raised in, or the location or the environment, which was predominantly white. And I practically didn't experience any diversity of any kind. And so I really have it in for all white guys, or white people in general, white men and women who got to be raised in places that were super or very diverse, because it's unfair. It's just not right. I didn't get to experience that growing up myself since I was a kid, like so many other bitch-ass millions of white Americans have themselves. And it pisses me off. And I'm honestly gonna even make a video about just specifically that. But, you know, honestly, like, I'll probably also never date or marry a black woman, because, I mean, a lot of them, and I said this in my previous video that I uploaded yesterday, and I never said that all black women are like this, I only ever said a lot of them. I didn't say even most or all. I just simply said a lot of them are. And when it comes to specifically the black women that I follow on Instagram, for example, they are this way that I'm about to describe. A lot of black women that I follow, the ones that I'm probably, if anything, the most sexually attracted to and turned on by and desire or whatever, are black women who are street, who are hood, who are bougie, who are ratchet, sassy, moody, and savages, who are ghetto, who are hood or whatever. And a lot of black women who are bougie or any of those other things that I just described are very proud and prideful of being that, or labeling themselves as that, and very boastful of it. They love to brag about it. They love to show that off if they just so happen to be a bougie black girl or a ratchet, sassy, moody, savage black girl or whatever. And when I also say that a lot of black women are street or hood, I don't just mean in the way where, oh, they probably do like criminal activity or whatever, or whatnot. I just simply mean even simply in the context that they have their own unique slang. They have their own grammar. They have their own accent. Like, black Americans obviously don't talk like white Americans. Not even close. They have their own slang, their own accent, their own grammar even. And, you know, I feel like a lot of black women, even if they're not really that fond of the lifestyle of being like hood or ghetto or whatever, I feel like a lot of black women who even are able to get out of that lifestyle and culture eventually at least have a phase at some point in time in their life, like maybe either when they're a child or a teen, which is usually more likely, like 13 to 18 or 13 to 19, like a lot of black girls do hood shit, and they have like a hood ghetto phase in their teens until they eventually grow out of it and like get out of it if they're able to, and if they're able to like move to a safer place or a better place or a more nicer house or whatever, or area or something. But you know, a lot of black women are very prideful and proud and boastful of even their hood culture. And they don't want to leave that culture. They want to stay in it as long as they possibly can, because they think it's just so cool and dope. And I mean, after all, so many rappers in Hollywood, specifically black rappers, of course, love to glamorize and glorify that sort of lifestyle and culture. And it just makes a bunch of black Americans themselves feel more like better about it, or feeling like it's a good thing, or it's a great thing, or it's a cool thing, and it makes them feel even more badass or more dope or whatever. And they love to brag about it. They love to show off. They love to boast about it. And you know, I cannot keep up with black women like that. I just can't. And even when it comes to black women who are raised in big cities, as most are, I know for an all-around fact I cannot keep up with black women like that. I just literally can't. Because I'm not like that myself. I'm nothing at all like that. And I feel like if I were to get with a black woman, I would have to have some way, somehow, to match their personality, their characteristics, their behavior, their mannerisms, or whatever. I feel like I would have to be on equal levels to it. Like I would have to have a way to relate to it, or resonate with it, or connect to it. but I can't. And, you know, when it comes to like even white city people, I can't even keep up with them. And, you know, here's the thing. At this point in time of my life, I'm not city material, and I never will be. Because here's the thing about cities. They are, first of all, very big. They're very big. And they can be very hard to navigate, especially if you're not used to living in a city, which I'm not. And also, to live in a city of any kind, in any of the 50 states, you have to be tough. I know that for a fact, and I've been told that by people, but even I knew myself, even before being told by the people that I was told by, that to live in a city you have to be tough. I couldn't agree more. I completely and totally agree, 100%. And you know what? When you guys see me in the way I act and behave in my personality here on YouTube, you can tell just as much as I can that I am not city material. Not the slightest fucking bit. I'm not city material, nor will I ever be. Because I'm not tough. I'm not rugged. I'm not street. I'm not familiar or used to city culture, city lifestyle, city environment. I am not used to that at all whatsoever. And that is not my fault, because I never had the privilege, chance, opportunity, or experience of being raised in such a place. As much as I desperately wanted to be, I wasn't. And that is the tragic, sad, unfortunate reality of my life that I've had to live with, that I've had to accept, that I've had to deal with. And, you know, when it comes to me, I'm way too weak to live in a city. I mean, seriously. I'm way too weak to ever, in my entire life, live in a city. And here's the thing. If I even tried to live in a city, you know what would probably happen to me? What would be the most likely thing? The city would chew me up and spit me the fuck out. And, if anything, I wouldn't even be surprised if I was murdered, robbed, beat to death, or whatever, by living in a city that I'm not used to. And guess what? Many cities are dangerous, of course, because there are a lot of ghetto street hood people there, specifically Black Americans, which are the most hood, ghetto, street people in America, as we all know. And if I could have been a part of that lifestyle, I would have been used to that. I would have been familiar with that. I would have been normal to that. And I would have learned how to be a fighter or whatever, and learn how to be tough and rugged and, like, not be beat down so easily. And, you know, so many white people who got to be raised in cities probably learned all these things, and were probably taught how to, like, fight and how to defend themselves and how to protect themselves. Because even just living in a city in general, it's a dangerous thing. Like, cities aren't a friendly, happy place. They're not welcoming. They're vile. They're violent. They're dangerous. They're huge. They're huge. And they're very overrated, very popular, and not to mention, they are super fucking crowded, with millions and millions of people living in them. And when it comes to, like, people asking me, why don't you move to a city? That's funny. Yeah, you really think someone like me should move to any city? I would probably get robbed and killed upon arrival, especially because of the things I say in my videos about Black Americans. And you know, I say a lot of offensive, controversial things about people of that race because I'm so jealous and envious of them, of you guys. Most of you who got to be raised in big cities, I really have it in for, and I hate that you got to experience and live through something I wish I could have myself. Same goes for all you fucking stupid pussy ass white people, you damn white Americans who got to be raised in cities. I hate each and every single last one of you equally to each other so much, and I would probably never befriend any of you people in real life, in person. Hell, I would not even want to interact with you. I would not want to be in the presence of you. I would not want to socialize with you. And like I said, I certainly would not ever be your friends. I don't want to be friends with white guys who are able to be around a bunch of sexy, hot-ass black women since they were kids and teens up into their adulthood. Not fair. Okay? Not fair. And, you know, and, you know, I just honestly think black women would be dodging a bullet instead of going with a guy like me. Like, if black women, like, please don't make the mistake of ever dating or marrying me. And I know none of you ever will, because you're not going to come to me. I mean, if anything, I would have to come to you. And like, I'm going to do that. You're so very different than me culturally. Skin color wise, race wise. And, you know, I never got to get used to you, familiar with you, interact with you physically and socially, become friends with a lot of you, date a lot of you, get married to one of you, and I never got to even just simply be in the physical presence of you, even if we didn't interact, but just walking around a city where there would, of course, be a lot of you. I didn't ever have that chance or experience at all. So it's too late. Because like I said, if I were to try to experience diversity nowadays, I would just feel uncomfortable, especially because of the things I say about black Americans in my videos. That is mainly out of hatred, anger, jealousy, and envy for you people of that race. Specifically the ones of you who got to be raised in big cities or moved to big cities at some point in time in your life. And also, I would simply be uncomfortable and uneasy and nervous and stressed out because I'm not used to you, any of you. I'm not familiar with any of you. I'm not normal to any of you. And same could be said about Mexican Americans, Asian Americans, Muslim Americans, Indian Americans, Native Americans. I'm not used to any of them either. The only race that I really ever had the chance and opportunity and privilege of getting used to, getting familiar with, becoming normal to, were my own race, my own kind. And I haven't even interacted with them or socialized with people of my own race or have had any white friends for the past like 7 years, because after all, I dropped out of high school in 2013 when I was 16, and I haven't really interacted with much white people anymore since then. So I'm just honestly a loner. I'm antisocial. I'm an introvert. And you know what? I never wanted this to end up being my life. I never wanted this to be what I evolved into eventually. And you know what the most tragic thing about my life and my case is the fact that all of this could have been so easily prevented if I could have been raised in a big city that was super diverse, or that is super diverse, where I could have experienced, got used to, got familiar with, and got normal to other races of people, not just my own, which I got sick and tired of and bored of, because that's all I ever knew. And it's just not fair. It's not right. And, you know, honestly, this is why I say stuff like, I wish cities would have never existed in the first place. It pisses me off that cities ever existed in the first place, causing me so much pain over the years. And also the people who got to live in them, got to be raised in them, got to experience all the people, places, and things in cities. The environment, the culture, the lifestyle. And just totally suck up that city life. Just suck it all up. Just soak it all in. Yeah, feels good, doesn't it? Yeah. And I never had that myself. So how do you think that's going to make me feel? And how do you think it's going to make me feel that so many other millions of white people got to experience Black Americans, Mexican Americans, Asian Americans, Muslim Americans, Indian Americans, Native Americans, all that shit? Like, it pisses me off. It enrages me. It makes me so jealous and envious of those punk-ass white Americans who got to, unlike me, because of how unfair it is. And just the fact that it's not right. It's not okay. And I don't know what else to say. And so, yeah, I'll probably never date or marry a Black woman. Ever. And it's not like I won't still be attracted to you, Black women, or wish that my life could have been different. Because, you know, obviously, I wouldn't say offensive things or controversial things about people of your race. And I wouldn't hate as many people as I do. I wouldn't be so pissed off and bitter. I wouldn't be so jealous and envious of you if I got to be raised in a big city. And if I could have got to experience diversity like so many of my other white peers have got to themselves compared to me. And so I don't know what else to say, but you know, just any time I look at Black women, even just online on the internet, on social media, on YouTube videos, or rarely in person, it's just so intoxicating for me. It's just painful. It's agonizing for me. It's so torturous and tormenting. It just causes me so much agony and anger and hatred knowing that I could never be with them. I never got used to them, familiar with them, normal to them. And now at almost the age of 24, I think of other races of people as like aliens, a different species entirely, because I didn't get to experience diversity. I didn't get used to it. I didn't get normal to it. I didn't get familiar with it, like so many other white people who have themselves, who I really have it in for. And so, and we grew up so many miles away from each other. I mean, you Black Americans and myself, we grew up so many miles apart from each other. It's as if, in a way, or in a sort of way, we grew up on different planets. And of course, you black Americans wouldn't think of me as an alien or a different species, because you guys do get used to a lot of white people. Well, I never got to be used to you, and I never got to be familiar with you or normal to you, or other races of people besides white people. So that's what I've had to live with. That's what I've had to accept. That's what I've had to deal with. And it's not easy for me. I just want to tell you all right now, it's not been easy for me at all. But this has been my life. This is what I've been given. So those are all the many reasons why I'll probably never, ever date or marry a black woman. And that's all I wanted to say in this video. Let me know what you all think in the comment section down below. I'm out.